Hey guys, welcome back to New World Carpentry Solutions, and in this video we're going to get started assembling all these custom planners. And the first step to making these planners come to life is actually to assemble the legs. These are simply assembled with two boards that make up an L shape. All you have to do is clamp and then pin nail them together with the 15 gauge gun. One benefit to using some reclaimed decking boards though is that the material is perfectly dry, so I'm able to use glue, which makes this joint significantly stronger. So all I need, again, glue, clamp together, and then drive in some 15 gauge galvanized nails or stainless if you have them, and that will make your legs plenty strong and they'll last for years to come. But after I get all these assembled, the next thing we need to do is go ahead and start building the actual frames or the carcass for the actual planter itself. And the legs assembly is pretty repetitive, so I'm gonna let the camera run as I bash through them all out. Actually, before we let the camera just run, a few tips. You want to make sure that your pieces are perfectly flush and aligned at top and bottom. They were all cut on the stop block, so they're all the same length. But if you have a piece hanging further down the bottom, that will lead you to either having to sand it off or go back and trim the entire leg, but then you have to trim the other three to make sure they're all the same length. Or you'll have a rock in your planter. And trying to avoid all those things is why, care in your actual assembly process is extremely important. And the second thing that's really crucial is that to make these planners profitable, you don't have to do a lot of sanding throughout this process. So the way that I avoid that is by making sure everything's perfectly flush as I go through the process. Another thing that's really crucial is that you want to make sure that you're not having any nails blow out. Because having to pull nails or having to do any of those finicky or fine-tuning situations definitely delves into your profit margin on these planners. So if you have to pull out 20 nails or sand each joint because nothing is flush, these planners no longer become something that you can batch out quickly and sell to your clients. So your assembly process, you need to find a way that makes them a lot easier to put together and a lot more repeatable. And one way I did that was by using a spacer block. So after I have the legs assembled, all I do is start at the very top and make sure my first board is perfectly flush across the top. I know my cuts are square, so by butting the legs together on that joint, I know it's going to come out perfect. And then the next thing I do is actually just start working my way from the top down with my spacers. I built two identical sides, and then I go to connecting everything together, and that's also pretty simple. Because my workbench is perfectly flat, the first thing I do is actually add a stretcher on one side and then start working my way up with the spacer block. The crucial thing here though is that I don't want to enclose the entire planter, or by going up the full total 4 runs that I'm going to do, it'll make it harder to reach and shoot the other side. So I'm going to do a couple rows, spin the whole thing around, and then work from the other side just to make the assembly process a little bit easier. Another thing you can do inside of this, on the inside of the planter, I'm still using galvanized 15 gauge nails. I do come back later with some GRK, I believe I'm using 1.25 inch, maybe 1.5 inch GRK cabinet head screws. Those with that washer head, one holds really tight on the wood, and you have to worry about backing out and or rusting. So you get to make your planter significantly stronger. So if you're not able to use glue, I highly recommend using 15 gauge to kind of get everything pinned together, then coming back with the actual GRK screws just to kind of strengthen the assembly a little bit more. And I believe right there is actually one of my second 18 gauge gun died out on me. In my last 2 projects, I've lost 2 18 gauge nailers. They have been with me since I actually started in construction. I believe the first tool I bought was the 18 gauge porter cable. And this lasted me, I don't know how many years at this point, but it's definitely been a long ride, so I need to pick up some more. So that way I'll have nail guns on the truck and in the shop. One of the biggest issues, because I am a full-time contractor, is pulling my tools either out of the truck into the shop to do a project, or leave some tools on the job site, and I had planned to do a project when I got back home. So one thing I definitely need to do is start getting more duplicates. But yeah, that's my tool addition aside. Let's continue with the build. As you guys saw in the first one, this is the second planter going together. It's pretty repetitive. So if you guys actually want to make this a product that you guys batch out, all you have to do is get your measurements or figure out a cut list, go over to your miter saw and just batch out all the parts. You can batch out enough parts to build 15 or 20 of these. The assembly process is pretty repetitive, and it's not hard to either teach a helper or knock them all out yourself. It's a great product to add to your list, again, especially during the springtime. So if you guys have enjoyed, definitely let me know down in the comments. Let me know anything you guys would add to this planner, or show me some pictures of planners that you guys have built over on Instagram or something. But if you guys have enjoyed, leave me a like and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.